welcome back to the channel, and hello if you're new. Before we get into the video, let me know your thoughts down below and hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel, hit that notification bell to stay posted on my future content. And now without further ado, let's get into it. Also, a quick heads up if you've been here before, I've changed my name from Caaliba to Caalzen. New name, same content. Today we're looking at Dead Island 2 in 2025, the sequel to Dead Island 2 that took over a decade to finally arrive, which just recently it became completely free for a limited time. So head over onto the Epic Store and check it out. It should be available for PC and console. But the real question is it even worth your time in 2025? Let's break it down. So a quick summary for those who don't know what Dead Island 2 is about. Dead Island 2 is a first-person action RPG set in a zombie-infested post-apocalyptic LA. You can hack, slash and kick and burn your way through the zombies with legendary weapons and cool cinematic takedowns. It sounds cool on paper, right? Yeah, kinda. The game's okay, not bad, but not great either. And if you've played Dying Light 1 like me, you'll notice some similarities here, especially the combat, crafting and RPG system. But when you think about how long this game was in development for, which literally was over a decade, it just doesn't feel like the game it should be. In fact, the sequel to Dying Light 2 was already out at this point. Even though Dying Light 2 scaled back compared to Dying Light 1, it still feels better than Dead Island 2, which is where I do have to say that this game does feel like it's slightly behind. Now let's start with the core gameplay. Dead Island 2 plays like a game caught between two timelines. It feels as if it's trying to modernize the original formula, but it doesn't quite get it right. The combat is somewhat okay. You've got your melee systems and then some gunplay later on, and of course the gore system, which was one of its biggest selling points. It's slightly over the top, but it's actually well done, but after a few hours it does kinda get stale. If you've played Dying Light 1, it gives you that same satisfying hit feedback when you're cracking zombies, especially when you slice through a limb, but it is missing that vertical movement. No parkour, no environmental flow. It's just quite literal, point A to point B. What is surprising though is the lack of evolution from the original. The game took over 10 years to arrive, and yet you still feel like you're playing something last gen or like a remaster, but not a full sequel. So if you're coming in expecting something groundbreaking, this isn't it. If you just want a chill zombie killing experience, the game holds up enough. Moving on to weapons, crafting and RPG progression. So the RPG system in Dead Island 2 is straightforward. I believe there's a leveling system that caps out around mid-30s. Instead of skill trees, we've got cards instead, which is a little weird, but I understand the change. Then we've got crafting, which compared to other games does feel watered down. You've just got basic mods, nothing deep like Dead Rising or even Dying Light 2. The weapon degradation system returns, which means you'll be swapping weapons constantly. This is fine for the most part, but not everyone loves that. Or if you're the type who gets attached to a specific one, that might annoy you. As for loot, it's quite average. There's plenty of it, but it doesn't feel rewarding. Even if you do end up getting a higher rarity, the weapons just feel weak and unrewarding. But again, for a game that's free right now, you could do a lot worse. Now, let's move on to the story and characters. Let's talk about the story. Is it deep? No, but it's kinda self-aware. You're in Hell A, which is a zombified version of LA. And while the writing leans a bit dull, I think it's at least aware of how dumb it is. You've got influencer jokes, bad dialogue, characters that feel like exaggerated NPCs from GTA. The main story itself is very short. I'd say roughly around 15 to 20 hours, and that's if you're taking it easy. Side quests feel like they're filler, and it feels like there's no narrative depth. It feels like Zombieland with less charm. Now let's talk about online gameplay. Now the co-op is technically here, but in my experience it's dead quiet. I feel like it's hit and miss. Let me explain. When I finally got someone to join as I was playing along, even though they were higher level than me, they just kept dying. And even after me going out my way to revive them, they dipped after about 5 minutes, which they were more inconvenienced than help. I also don't think it helps that the online co-op's limited to 3 players. I'm not sure that cross-play matchmakes across all platforms, which kills the player base. So unless you've got friends who've downloaded it too, play it solo. And honestly, from my opinion, it's probably for the best. And for me, the game seems to flow better solo. You can explore at your own pace, soak in the atmosphere, and you can avoid the dodginess of unbalanced co-op sessions. Let's move on to visuals and performance. Graphically, I think the game looks solid. The lighting is decent, textures are clean, and performance on PC has been mostly stable for me. Nothing truly next gen, but nothing broken either. I'd say it feels polished in terms of visuals and stability, but there's just no innovation. What I do feel is missing though is the ambience. You're in LA and yet half the locations feel dead in the wrong way. There's no tension, no horror vibe, and no real sense of dread compared to something like Dying Light 1, which nailed the atmosphere. Dead Island 2 feels more arcade-like. Now for the playback factor. Honestly, replayability is honestly where Dead Island 2 starts to fade into the background. There are 6 characters, each with their own starting stats and minor ability differences, but don't let that fool you into thinking there's some deep class variety. Aside from a few unique skill cards or passives, moment to moment gameplay stays the same, so replaying the game with a new character feels like a surface level change and unrewarding. If you're the kind of player who likes to test every character and to try every build, or just wants to complete all side quests, sure, you might squeeze another 10 to 15 hours out of it, but there's barely any reason to come back after the credits roll. There's no alternate endings, no deep upgraded loot, and nothing that hooks you past the main story. Even the zombie AI doesn't evolve. You're fighting the same handful of enemy types throughout the whole campaign. There is a few variants, screamers, brutes, and explosive ones, but the encounters start to feel repetitive very quickly, especially towards the final third. It's a one and done kind of game, and that's fine, but it limits its staying power. Now on to final thoughts. Is it worth your time in 2025? Let's be real, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you've seen Dead Island 2 is free right now, or it's dirt cheap, and you're wondering if it's worth your time. And honestly, in 2025, I'd say yeah, it kind of is. It's the kind of game that doesn't demand too much from you. You don't need to be too invested. There's no steep learning curve, and there's no pressure to grind. You load it up, crack some skulls, laugh at some cringe dialogue, and then log off. It's a fast food sort of game, quick, satisfying for a bit, but nothing that will stick with you. The real letdown is after 10 plus years of development hell and studio changes, this was the final result. It's not a train wreck by any means, but it's also not bold, not creative, and not really memorable. It plays things too safe, and in a genre that evolves so much, from games like The Last of Us or Dying Light, to even indie hits like Project Zomboid, Dead Island 2 feels like it's chasing trends and not setting them. But if you can manage your expectations and switch off a bit, or just want to blow off some steam, this game will do exactly that. So yeah, if you're bored or wanting to play a new game, grab it. I mean, it is free after all. But if you're looking for a deep, horror-driven zombie experience that sticks with you, I'd ignore it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Did you play Dead Island 2 when it dropped? Or is this your first time jumping in now that it's free? Let me know how you feel about the gameplay. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell while you're at it so that you can stay up to date on my future content. And on that note, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I'm as knackered as a 3-legged workhorse.